goodness, you're all chilled out. Very quiet tonight. All right, Jennifer.
Yeah.
And Catalina. We got two here. All right. First, Jennifer.
Actually, it's me, Mark.
Oh, okay, Nick.
It's haven't been on in a while, so first my comments will be apropos to the topic. But I feel like balance. I may be the epitome of not balanced, but I think about what you say about our culture and this difference. The way I would characterize it is doing and being. And I kind of put my life like, think of it as a plate, and there's different things on the plate. And the balance for me is, and this, I know this is not what you're talking about, but the balance for me is having these different things on the plate. Call it spirituality, call it work, call it service, family, these different components. And I'm an organizer, I'm a planner, this is, the way it should be all lined up. And I should be spending this much time here and that much time there. And for me, it feels okay. But I like to pack a lot in. And maybe I have FOMO, fear of missing out. But I have this sense that life is short and I want to enjoy it, and I want to do something that feels meaningful and impactful, and I want to experience it and slow down. And it feels okay, but I'm just kind of calling myself out that I kind of like doing a lot of things and being busy. So it's kind of stream of consciousness, but I just wanted to throw that out there.
Right. So you started out by saying you might be the epitome of a life not in balance. And it sounds like what you mean by that is that you're very busy, you're packing it in. But there's a voice that I hear that is wanting something a little different. You mentioned doing and being. You mentioned, slowing down. And I can't remember if you used the word appreciation, but it's the word that's coming to my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Can you speak more to that side of you that's there, that's asking for a different mix?
So I'll give you an example. I do a 3-day silent retreat every year that I've been doing for 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I crave that retreat. Like when it comes around in January, it's like a, beginning of the year house cleaning kind of thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
And, I absolutely love it. And I always think, well, I should add another one mid-year. And I don't. And then, we have this beautiful backyard. And there's like a little spot that I can see from here right now where I just love to sit and just look and be. But then I do that for a while and it's like, okay, I'm ready to do something else.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what makes me think like, okay, do I need more of that, or am I getting enough of that? I could do another retreat. I meditate a couple times a day usually. I have certain spiritual practices every week things that I do to just, stop. AA meetings are that for me. So that's that part of me, I think. Maybe I need a little bit more of that.
Mm-hmm. So you're in a kind of a questioning mood. You're not necessarily clear, but there may be a sense of wanting more of what you have on that retreat. Whatever that is, kind of clearing away the schedule. And so, my experience is that urge comes from like a different part. It's even embodied differently in us. And the pack it in part, and I definitely have a pack it in kind of a side to me, comes a lot from my head, really, of kind of seeing this, seeing that, wanting that. And so it helps to drop down a bit in the body, I think, to listen to, on a heart level, what's important, what you might want. And again, if it may be that you're living life just the way it needs to be lived. Yeah. But you might give some chance to just tune into that voice that wants a little more quiet or another retreat. And what would that do? And what would that, what's the right, it's not so much what would that do, but where is that coming from in you? To tune in there, to give that a little more space inside of you. I know for myself that we don't live in a culture that supports that very much. It much more supports the pack it in. And, everything is always being advertised, this to do, that to do. And lots and lots of possibilities. And so if we're gonna take time out to be, it pretty much has to be generated from inside. It's not something that's going to come from the outside very much. Maybe this class is the one place where you're going to hear an advertisement for that, probably, or when my emails come and they offer a retreat or they offer something, they're kind of an advertisement for that. But there's not a lot of that around. So you really do have to drop down and listen to that in yourself.
Thank you.
All right, Nick, you're welcome. So, Catalina, go ahead and unmute.
Thank you. I'm trying to do the experiment of living in the present. And I ask myself, could you give me one day that I can pay attention to the moment? And it's so shocking that it's extremely hard to live in the present. And it's and even if I have the willingness, even if I have the training and put the space and the time to be able to pay attention to just what is happening right now, it's like I can do it for like maybe 1 minute, 2 minutes, and then again, again, 1 minute, 2 minutes, again. So, and I know that because of your teachings, that the more I am away of the conceptual mind, that I am able to be more in the moment, like without the thinking about like planning and everything, the more happier, the more in peace I'm going to be. Because if I do the experiment in this moment, going to the dimension of the present is heaven. It's heavenly, like, but it goes away like immediately. So I don't know. Any ideas from you?
Let me make a suggestion. This helps. This is helpful for me. It helps me to recognize that the present, here and now, is what I am already. In other words, sometimes it can seem like, here and now is something you have to possess and hold on to. It's actually not. It's actually consciousness itself. is always here and now.
Mhm.
There really isn't a future and there isn't a past when we're talking about consciousness. There's the imagination of the future and there's the memory of the past. And so what oftentimes people notice is that it's hard to just rest as consciousness. Instead, thoughts are always being generated. But thoughts are all happening in the present too, you know?
Mhm.
It's actually what you are. You are the here and now space where things arise. And so starting to recognize that, I find shifts something. It's different if being present is something you've got to get. You know, it puts you in that kind of get it, hold on to it mentality. And that engages your ego, it engages your sense of self. And then your sense of self is frustrated because it can't do that. It can't hold on to it because it thinks it's got to hold on to it. So to notice in any moment that here and now is what you are. It's actually what you always already are. It doesn't have to be gotten and it can't be lost, although it appears to be lost when the mind wanders off, you know, it goes down some rabbit hole or another. It appears to be lost, but it's always there. Try it out. See if that's helpful, you know, and see if, you know, if you say to yourself, okay, I'm going to be present for an entire day, boy, the ego gets a hold of that so quickly, you know, like that's going to be my achievement. And so in some ways, I think you set yourself up with that. I mean, it's a noble aspiration. But what I think is far more helpful is to just notice now, just aim over and over again at what you already are, which is this present space of experiencing. Just see that over and over again. And it doesn't have to be made into something you're going to accumulate.
Okay, I would, yeah.
All right.
But also demands effort, isn't it?
It demands a certain kind of effort, which is in the moment. Yes.
Yeah.
It's always in the moment, but not the kind of imagining a future in which you attain your goal. It's not that kind of thing. It's like right now, just noticing the here and now space of awareness. Just noticing that.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have the feeling. I kind of have like the intuition what you are talking about. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
So
as you do that, the here and now space of awareness starts to like wake up a bit. It starts to wake up to itself. And that becomes a much more stable place to be than the egoic mind trying to like bring you into the present, bring you into the present, you know, it's a lot of effort to do that.
yes.
Whereas the other, it takes a different kind of effort and much less effort.
Okay.
Okay.
I will experiment. Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Good. All right. Anybody else sitting on something? Sometimes I like the basic questions like how do you establish a practice if you don't have one? How do you get over the barriers to that? Tanis, you're gonna have to unmute, Tanis. Can't hear you.
Always forget there.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Thank you all. Thank you, Mark. I'm gonna just make a comment. It's sort of a follow-up to a couple 3 weeks ago, something I said. And I just felt reporting this, and maybe this is a tribute to you, Mark, more than to my meditating, which is spotty. I think you know that, but I loved hearing your suggestions just now. Also, I'm going to try some of those. But anyway, I said rather emotionally a couple of weeks ago talked about my granddaughter who's just turning 3, and when she was born, I talked about being an older grandmother, my daughter being an older mother, and at a time when also friends and family were dying and all that. And I wasn't really expecting or sitting and wishing for a grandchild, but it was like a gift. It was grace. And and it just, I mean, my heart just opened into joy like I hadn't felt in a long time. And then a couple of weeks ago said that she had had a really distressing diagnosis, and not impacting her physicality, which is enormous, just incredible. And she loves to run and runs like the wind with such joy herself. And after our just this a week or so ago, we took her to a center that was in a way designed for children like her, and an expansive space and with lots of things. And my daughter and I were just watching her there, and she was just in heaven and running like she runs so much of the time, but just running and running. And you had said something when I brought up the how sad I was and how hard it was, the diagnosis, and something about it was about accepting, and I was trying not doing well at that, and but that something that then accepting would be able to see better. I'm not quoting you at all, but right, what to not really necessarily to do, but sort of how to get through this and be with it. And so I thought about that a lot in being with her. My husband and I babysit and are around her quite a bit. Uh, and in this new place that was new for her, new for me, pretty ordinary to all of us, but just watching her for an hour, and I'm very familiar with her, but watching her there and watching her run, it was the same happiness, the same joy that it's always been
Yes.
watching her run.
Yeah.
She just was herself totally. And and that was it. And I couldn't even see beyond that. That was what was wonderful. And that was about a week ago. I I feel that still.
Mm.
And I feel it, and I don't want to get into wanting to feel that way always, I
No,
mean,
always is too big of a word, but yeah,
I know I'll do that. I'll like, oh, I want this all the time. I won't be worried again. But I just to feel that again instead of the worry and the sadness.
right. You got past the idea of that diagnosis and you got to the reality, which
Mhm,
is you can still feel joy and she can still be herself.
mhm,
And that love that makes the joy possible can be there. And, you know, and it was really a lot of thoughts that were getting in the way, a lot of worry.
Mhm, mhm,
ideas, but you
mhm,
actually landed on the reality.
mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I thank you for those words, and
you're welcome. I'm glad.
I think I try to put them in my meditation. You
All
know,
right, good.
so it was great. And there's hope. It's just that it's a long-term kind of
Right. I'm sure there are some difficulties ahead, but
but
it's
there but
meanwhile there's joy, and meanwhile there's
yeah,
life, and it's
yeah. So
okay.
again, thank you.
All right, you're welcome. You're welcome, Tanis. Be well. All right, Rachel.
Hi there. I also appreciated Emma's question. I've been trying for years to make meditation regular, and I struggle with any kind of routine. So I appreciate that. My question is about another, what feels a bit like an obstacle. And you make reference to it in one of your meditations on your website, but I don't quite understand. In the body scan, I think I am visualizing body parts.
Yeah,
And,
that's different than feeling.
and so I'm supposed to be feeling it from inside.
Yes, yes. Feeling it from inside. You know, yeah, visualizing is visualizing, but what are the actual sensations? The actual, like touch. If you touch your fingers together, there's a sensation there, and it doesn't matter if you put it behind your head and you can't see it. Seeing doesn't really change the fact that there is a touch sensation there, you know. So touch
Right.
sensations are all over the body. Some
Hmm.
places more than others, where I can feel a lot of touch around my shoulders where the weight of my clothes is kind of touching there. um, so touch is one sensation. Warmth and coolness is another,
Hmm.
and there'll be various. If you tune into just the heat factor, there's various places in the body that are warm and are cool at any one time. There's kind of tingling,
Hmm.
pulsing, vibrating. And so for this type of meditation, you're really invited to go into the felt experience of the body. And so if you notice that you're visualizing, just okay, visualizing, come back, what is actually felt in that body part? I really think it's amazing to feel your face from the inside, because we spend so much time like looking at our face in a mirror. And then these crazy Zoom cameras, you can have your image going, and you know, and so that's that kind of like looking outward in. It's not it's not in so close. So like to close your eyes and to just feel the actual feelings of your face, what the face feels like from the inside.
Hmm.
And I notice a lot of places that are kind of maybe sore or tired from smiling, or from chewing, or squinting, or whatever. There's a whole map of sensation and experience in the face, which is there without any picture of it whatsoever.
Hmm.
It's like your inner face, no picture at all, just the inner experience of it.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's what we're doing when we're doing the body scan. We're going down through actual tactile experiences.
That is very helpful. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. I'm glad to explain that. Um, all right, so I think we're at our time, and this is our last class for this series. Um, and so I hope to see many of you in the next one if you're interested. And so be well and take care and stay open.